Not only grown-ups can sing, we can too.
So easy on me, baby. I was still a child, didn't get the chance to.
CBC TV8 is having a kids karaoke show just for us. So children between the ages of 5 to 17 come in and join in for fun. Email Nadia Foster at nfoster@cbc.bb. Hear you soon. Bye.
For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and together building a community for all mature audiences. That's why we say Q is good for you. To our Q family, we say thank you for staying connected to Q100.7 FM. QFM is a station of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. CBC, celebrating 60, connecting Barbadian communities. Are you a youth group, 4-H club, school, Cub Scout or Brownie Pack, or any organization or club with children ages 4 to 11 years? If yes is the answer, then we at Fun School, we're looking for you. Let's have fun singing, dancing, listening to amazing stories, doing craft, and so much more. I'm such a kid at heart. But to be part of this fun and exciting new season of Fun School, just simply send an email to Alicia Alves Grant at aagrant@cbc.bb for further details. Fun School is back, and we're looking for you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb, and together we will travel the world.
Oh, hi. My name is Stacia Whitaker, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist and a member of the Heart and Stroke Childhood Obesity Prevention Coalition. My motto is, when in doubt, leave it out, and it goes for when I'm eating, because sometimes things have ingredients that we're not sure of, and I like to keep it simple. And if I'm eating something and I'm not sure the ingredients in that particular thing, then I choose to leave it out. So I keep my snacking simple with fruit, nuts, or just water. It's easy to remember, there's no added ingredients, and it's also very nutritious. So remember, childhood obesity is real, so choose healthier alternatives. And when in doubt, leave it out.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
98.1 The One is more than a station.
We don't just play music, we keep you company, cheer you up, keep you informed and entertained. We are a vibe. What do you mean?
Every day we bring the party to you.
We are your #1 party station.
We love playing music for our listeners.
And we're committed to working with our clients and advertisers to make sure that you get the attention that you deserve.
98.1 The One, celebrating 18 and still your #1 party station.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kia Lewis, General Practitioner and Healthy Lifestyle Advocate. Good nutrition starts at home. So this school year, I want you to consider packing healthy, nutritious snacks and lunches for your children to carry, rather than having them buy them at school. And don't just pack things you think they should have. Have a discussion and come up with things that you both know they will enjoy.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
You know why?
This is the CBC Morning Report for today, Tuesday, October 31st. I'm Tisha Hines. Good morning. In our top story, the creation of an animal registry and proper record keeping by farmers will allow for better tracing of animals if stolen. This is the view of Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul.
We also will have to develop a registry, which of course would allow then a database of animals to be there so that it can actually be referred to in quick time. So all of these things are things that need to be put in place. And it's a lot of work, but the thing is really, it's something that if we started to work on it now, I'm sure that within a year or so, that we can accomplish a goal of trying to identify animals better in Barbados. And that applies to a lot of farmers. Too many people, and not farmers, but generally, we tend not to want to document what we are doing. And that is something that, you know, we have to address. That if you are to, especially today, in today's world, if you are to evaluate the success of your enterprise or whatever, you need to document what you're doing so that you can measure and so that you can compare. And this is something, of course, that many farmers are not to do. There are some farmers who do it very well, and there are some farmers who are just not prepared to. And it is how do we increase the number of farmers who are prepared to engage in that process? How many farmers are prepared to do it? And let's just going back to that fundamental question. You know, I mean, you hear many people say that, and I want this one. You hear many people say that they want to get into agriculture. Some of these people who are speaking do not have the skills, do not have the aptitude, and it's better left alone. And unfortunately, you know, we have people who fall for it because sometimes people just want some land that they can build a house on or something. They are not in for agriculture. And we need to separate the sheep from the goats and recognize that, look, everybody is not there. And the thing is really choose the persons who are willing to see farming as a business and who are serious about it and who are willing to you know, you do what is needed to be done in order to make it a success.
Mr. Paul says they are willing to help farmers get the chips.
We are able to source the microchips and get them in for them at a relatively reasonable price. So that is not an issue. And certainly, you have to also have the other piece of equipment that is there in order to ensure that you can identify. What is important too is that even at the abattoirs, for instance, you'll have to look at trying to equip the abattoirs with the appropriate equipment that will allow them to be able to identify the animals. So that is something also that you need to take into consideration.
He added there's a need to train not only farmers, but also those at the abattoir and place the equipment there to double check before animals are slaughtered.
There will have to be training of abattoir personnel, especially the person who's receiving the animals from the farmers on that particular day, who will be able to have some appropriate identification. And of course, one of the things that you will have to insist on is that the farmers themselves keep some type of records. Now, that is really the challenge, is the extent to which that farmers in the industry are prepared to be disciplined to keep in records. So that when, for instance, they say go to the abattoir, they will be able to show that, look, I am the legal owner of the animal. And the microchipping can help that, but also depends on the level of cooperation that you can get from the individual farmers too at the same time.
Meanwhile, Dr. Leroy McLean, a consultant with the Ministry of Agriculture, wants those who are operating solar PV systems and sheep farming to be conscious of the ownership of the sheep.
I would also like to advise those persons who have the solar panels where they are required to have sheep to graze under the panels, that if they're going to buy sheep, make sure that they buy them from legitimate farmers. Don't let anyone just tell you that they can get some sheep for you. Make sure you can get them from legitimate farmers. You can contact the Ministry of Agriculture and we can put you in touch with the farmers who will be able to supply you with sheep for that purpose. But obviously, there seems to be a market out there for stolen sheep, and we want to put farmers on guard, put security in place. And even though we had security, we had cameras, the thieves obviously knew what they were doing.
Well, coming up on the CBC Morning Report, a live update of the aftermath from yesterday's earthquake in Jamaica.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
So good in a party yet. You know why?
It's summer vacation, and CBC TV8 says,
While Jamaicans are still reeling from the impact of yesterday's earthquake, the CBC Morning Report checked in with a few Barbadian students there who say they were safe but preferred not to speak on camera. However, one promoter who comes to Barbados regularly, Raymond Shadow Small of Prism Marketing, agreed to speak with the Morning Report. Good morning to you, Raymond.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show this morning. And we absolutely were sorry to hear about what happened in Jamaica. Were you aware that there was a tremor, or were you and other Jamaicans caught off guard?
I think pretty much everybody was caught off guard. I mean, personally, writing and actually computer, the notebook, the laptop was actually sliding on the desk. So for a moment, I was wondering, if maybe one of the legs on the table was broken, and then I realized no. I noticed everything started shifting, and that's when I actually realized that we were having an earthquake. So initially, it was just mild tremors. So we said, okay, because we have had a few of those in more recent times, and we just figured, oh, it was just another one of those, and it would pass. And then I just realized it just became very vigorous, and you started to see the pain. I could actually hear people from adjoining realize, oh, we're having a major earthquake. So for the most part, to answer your question, yes, I think it caught the majority of the people, if not everybody, off guard.
What was the alert system like after that in terms of the authorities kind of rallying things together? Post, obviously, then the tremor, did you have, updates on your radio stations, sirens? How were people alerted?
Yes, I mean once the system one in the aftermath of that happened, the first thing you started to see reports surfacing online via social media. Because as you know, that is one of the fastest way to get things out there. And then once that occurred, then the next thing is that people started you started to hear the reports on the various radio stations, legacy platforms, radio, television, and also alerts were sent out via the various agencies and one thing that was noticeable is the increase in traffic on the road because everybody was rushing to get to the various academic institutions to pick up their children because the schools had also sent out an alert to say, okay, they were closing schools and everybody should come and pick up their children. And then the Prime Minister put out an official report. And part of that was that one of the reasons why a lot of places were adjourned is that they wanted now to bring in structural engineers who could actually go in and make an examination of these buildings to see if they were safe for people to re-enter.
With that said, are there any areas that appear to have suffered, a lot of damage, or where are the places that have suffered most damage from the quake?
Most of the damages were suffered in the eastern end of the island, which would cover places like Portland, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, etc. Seeing the most significant damages would have been maybe some cracks in the roads. I saw one building, a three-story building, that actually one of the floors caved and kind of compacted. So instead of being a three-story, became a two-story. Beyond that, as I said, just some cracked roads, furniture's being shipped around. Like for example, in the supermarket business, I saw a lot of supermarkets suffered some like flicked shelves where just based on how vigorous the earthquake itself was, a lot of those foods, those stacked food shelves were flipped over. So there was just like, just products everywhere. And outside of that, I think, like, because Jamaica also has a very active deep sector. There were lots of people being rushed out of it. I guess one, because Jamaica has not had a major earthquake of this since I think it was January 1993, which is like 3 decades ago. So for a lot of people in this current generation, they have never felt something like that. So you had instances where people actually passed out. People had asthma attacks and had to be rushed to medical facilities. So yeah, I think that's it for the most part.
All right, and I know that
but there's no recorded fatalities from the official reports.
All right, now I know you represent a cache of artists, including some very popular artists. Were many of them on island, and how did they navigate it? I know many of them were posting online as well.
Yes, most of the artists were here. Some of them were a little shocked, as most people would be. I mean, some people were recording at the time, like they were actually in the studio, like laying down some tracks, and then the whole thing happened, and they just while others took a more pensive approach to it, and more reflective, and said, it was just an opportunity for them to realize that, regardless of how we tend to behave, sometimes we need to understand that we can be easily humbled. But for me personally, I went and I checked via call to all of the people that I work with to make sure that they and their family, are in good order. And so far, so fine. As I said, there are um, no official reported cases of deaths or any major injury to human life.
I want to thank you so much for sharing with us this morning, Raymond, and we, of course, wish you the very best
All right.
in Jamaica.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing with us once again. Now, following 4 failed efforts to reach consensus on a Gaza resolution, the UN Security Council met in emergency session again last evening to discuss the ongoing crisis amid continuing Israeli bombardment and reported ground incursions.
There's also been discussions about the devastating impact that Israeli bombardment is having on civilians, in particular children. The head of the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees said an immediate humanitarian ceasefire has become a matter of life and death for millions.
Nearly 70% of those reported killed are children and women. Save the Children reported yesterday that nearly 3,200 children were killed in Gaza in just 3 weeks. This surpasses the number of children killed annually across the world's conflict zones since 2019. This cannot be collateral damage. Churches, mosques, hospitals, and UNRWA facilities, including those sheltering displaced people, have not been spared. Too many people have been killed and injured while seeking safety in places protected by international humanitarian law.
At UNICEF, we firmly believe that the true cost of this latest escalation will be measured in children's lives, those lost to the violence and those forever changed by it. After little more than 3 weeks, the devastating tally is quickly adding up, with rampant grave violations being committed against children. According to the Palestinian Ministry of Health, more than 8,300 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, including over 3,400 children.
Gabriel Elizondo's live for us at the United Nations. There is a proposal that has been put forward, I think, by the United Arab Emirates, and I think Malta is supporting it as well. What do we know about this?
Not much yet, but we should know more about it in the coming hours or days. This is a proposal, UN Security Council draft, that Malta is spearheading with other E10 members of the Security Council. E10 is the elected 10 non-permanent members of the Security Council. We have been told by multiple sources that there is a draft that is complete and has been sent to the permanent 5 members who are reviewing it and going to offer their thoughts on it and what have you. And there's sort of a back behind the scenes negotiations happening right now with this draft resolution. It's important to point out that this comes after 4 UN Security Council draft resolutions have not gone anywhere, either due to veto by the United States or just not having enough votes. So there's some frustration on the Security Council, and that's why you're seeing now the E10 or elected 5 members spearheaded by Malta coming up with what they hope to be an alternative. We have not seen that resolution yet, but we hope to in the coming hours, perhaps even as early as tomorrow, with an anticipation maybe if there's some sort of potential consensus, it potentially going to a vote this week.
View what's coming up on Morning Barbados. We continue our series on grief and loss today. We're also going to be checking in with our partners at the National Cultural Foundation in the area of culinary arts. The external coordinator, Sophia Catwell, will be on to share with us. Plus, conversations on CARICOM as we reflect on Haiti. The conversation continues. And we're also going to take a peek at the Trinidadian President's UN General Assembly presentation. Plus, we're telling you more about the Reimagining Education consultations with Chief Education Officer Dr. Ramona Bradshaw. She will be in studio. That and more coming up on Morning Barbados. So stay with us.
It's Match Day Live from the 246 with host Damian Best. Your all-access pass to the action happening in the BFA Premier League and beyond. Every last Monday of the month on CBC TV8. Kickoff time, 8:30 p.m. with analysis from our panel and highlights of the top performances. You can weigh in on the discussion via WhatsApp on 228-5562. It's Match Day Live from the 246. Don't you miss it.
My friend, you don't plan to get it. Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
Barbados is being proposed as a logistical hub to help meet the demand for food from some African and Gulf state countries. That's the view of Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley as she addressed yesterday's Africa-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum 2023 opening session in Guyana. Ms. Motley believes countries in the region have the capacity to supply the goods. However, she says there's a need for greater compliance with matters that will make the trade an immediate reality.
And that is why, working with my brother, President Ali, with the Barbados-Guyana relationship in agriculture, we have been making our way towards the establishment of Barbados as an agro-processing and hopefully with our brothers from Egypt, a fish processing hub to ensure that we can make those initial steps to be able to ensure that all of the production of the Caribbean can in fact now be made available to the people of Africa in circumstances where many of the countries in Africa are facing the same climatic crisis issues that we are.
Prime Minister Motley has also welcomed the Afrexim Bank's commitment of $300 million to the tourism and hospitality sectors of the region. She says the ability of the bank to provide access to the fund is critical.
Therefore means that most of our companies are in need of some kind of arrangement and support, and we believe that governments working in conjunction with entities like the Africa Exim Bank can help make that difference, even if it means that we have to have a conversation as to how best the government plays its role and the private sector financing and the institutional financing can come to the table. If we don't do it, our region will not be competitive in tourism, and it is a world where everybody now understands that they have to go and fish to eat or reap the plants to eat. But nobody is owing us anything or giving us anything. And it therefore means that the tourism sector in particular, in which we are globally competitive, cannot take anything for granted.
The breast screening program of the Barbados Cancer Society has seen a significant rise in the number of women being diagnosed with breast cancer over the past decade. This is according to nurse Sasha Catlin. She was delivering a lecture titled Breast Cancer and You, hosted by the National Library Service.
I could remember when I first went to Barbados Cancer Society back. When I first came, when we diagnosed patients, we only had something looking like 90 patients a year. No, 36 patients at that point in time when I came. After the years have multiplied, last year alone, I diagnosed 118 patients. So look at the years as they go by, that it's actually increasing in number and it's actually getting a lot more prevalent.
In table tennis and sailing were the main focus for Team Barbados yesterday at the Pan American Games in Chile, with both competitors feeling the weight of their opponents.
Barbados' brightest star in the table tennis arena, Tyrese Knight, had a giant hurdle to overcome in his opening match here in Santiago, Chile. Knight, 401 in the international table tennis rankings, was up against Santiago Lorenzo of Argentina, who's among the top 100 players in the world at 79th. As expected, Lorenzo came out the gates flying in the round of 32 matchup, taking the first game at 11-3, before Knight put up stiff resistance in the second, but would eventually fold 13-15. In the third is when Knight showed glimpses of his true potential with his back against the wall. However, after a quick pep talk from his coach, Lorenzo returned to normal programming, using all his experience to pull out the 11-9 scoreline in the fourth.
From Santiago Lorenzo, but the match is getting very, very pressureful. What a rally! And Lorenzo, the one to take it. And Knight with the serve. 10-9. Knight not letting Lorenzo go this easily. Lorenzo wins it.
Before sealing the deal in the fifth, 17-15 in 47 minutes of action. Well, afterwards, Knight told CBC Sports, despite the loss, it felt good to push a top player like Lorenzo.
In the first game, I wasn't doing the right things at the moment. My coach after told me, the only thing we're doing here now, we're defending and not so much attack. And even sometimes I was still going for it, and he was still behind me. No, Tyrese, keep going, keep defending. The guy is not able to put many balls on. Yeah, had three close games that I should have taken, but all in all, I'm happy. We had some strategies. We say when we try to keep more to the corners, more wide, so because middle, he's very easy for him to go anywhere on me. So yeah, I was able to do that, and that's why I was able to play so well. I wish I was able to play more tournaments like these guys. He's actually 70 in the world, so for me to actually be so close and actually had a chance to win the game, I feel proud of myself, and I continue to work hard, especially for next year, Olympic qualifiers, see if I can make history, be the first to qualify for table tennis.
Knight is currently based in the USA and has been playing for the Portland Paddlers in the Major League Table Tennis competition. It's a dream come true for the 24-year-old who only made his debut last month for the top-ranked side in the West.
I was able to win 2 matches for a team. This league, it's good, it's interesting, it's a different type of format. There's actually at 10-10, you only play 1 point in this format, and we have a golden game. Yeah, all in all, I'm happy to be playing in this first professional league. I think it will grow a lot. So it's good that I'm able to play in this from Barbados, especially.
Meanwhile, in sailing, Scott Gittins finished down the pack in 21st position after 5 races in the dinghy ILCA 7. In this event, the lower the total score, the better the overall placement for the boat. So, another tough day at the office for Team Barbados. Here's hoping for better luck in the coming days. Reporting from Santiago, Chile, Damien Best, CBC Sports.
Thanks so much, Damien. Time to take a look now at the weather. The barometric pressure stands at 10.3 millibars. It's 26.1 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity is at 91%, and the winds are going out of the east at 28 kilometers per hour. Present weather is fair. General conditions for Barbados today: smooth to moderate in open water with northerly swells ranging from 1 to 2 meters. And here's a look at how the tides roll in today. Be careful as you head out for your early morning sea bath, or if you're heading out a little later this evening. General forecast: sunny with cloudy periods with a few brief scattered light showers. And that is today's morning report. Our next newscast is Newsday at 12 noon on TV8, followed by The World at 1 via our radio network of stations, 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. It's time now for Morning Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning to you indeed. Good to have you with us on this Tuesday, October 31st. I am Tisha Hines. I'll be here with you until 8 o'clock this morning. So all that's left to say is morning, Barbados. Good to have you with us. For those of you online, thank you for waking up and sharing with us. I know some of you are ahead in terms of time. Some of you are behind, but you make sure you tune in to share with us every single day. So a special good morning to those of you who don't necessarily share on social media, but we want to make sure that you check us out as well. There are usually some exclusive videos and different very interesting things to share. So last time we had the ambassador here with us, Ambassador Comishong. I'm talking about Barbados ambassador to CARICOM. We weren't able to quite get through our conversation. We were talking about all that had happened at the Canada CARICOM summit. So today we want to finish up that conversation and then move into some of the other things that have been happening. So let's go right ahead and say a special good morning to Ambassador David Comishong.
Good morning, Tisha. Yes, we need to keep focus on Haiti because that's CARICOM's major internal issue that we have to solve. And so we wanted to show a little extract from the press conference that ended the CARICOM Canada Summit, where Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada and Prime Minister Keith Rowley of Trinidad and Tobago spoke to this issue of Haiti, and they both identified a central issue that needs to be addressed. That is the issue of the absolute necessity to establish a national unity administration in Haiti. So we want to play that, and then we want to go quickly to CARICOM at the UN General Assembly. We want to introduce Barbadians to Ambassador Dennis Francis of Trinidad and Tobago, who is now the president of the UN General Assembly. And we want to focus on what CARICOM is trying to do to help bring a resolution to this terrible, terrible crisis in Gaza, with so many people being killed. But let's go to the press conference, the Canada CARICOM press conference quickly.
Next question goes to Dylan Robertson. Prime Minister Trudeau, also on Haiti, and please repeat in French after. Your office made the point yesterday about, quote, the urgent need for a power-sharing agreement between Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry and opposition groups. So my question is for both Prime Ministers here today, if you got Mr. Henry to budge at all on that, and if he's becoming a burden to establishing stability in Haiti.
There is no question that
in order for there to be a path forward on solving the security situation, on creating a path towards new elections and creating and restoring strength to institutions, whether it be the Haitian National Police or various judicial or governmental institutions, the Haitian political class needs to be part of that solution. Right now, there's not even a consensus amongst the Haitian political class on whether or not someone should step in to stop people from being killed, murdered, and raped in the streets of Port-au-Prince. We know, and we have said, the international community, including Canada and the CARICOM, are there to help. But there has to be a willingness, clearly expressed and articulated by the Haitian political class, that this is the right thing. How they work out that consensus, how they establish it, will be very much something that we are actively helping in building that political consensus. The CARICOM initiative around gathering all the different parties together to figure out a path forward is extraordinarily important, and there'll be another visit later this month. But those two things need to go together. Establishing security and stability and establishing a pathway to prosperity and to a stable future need to happen at the same time, and that's what we've been pushing on.
There's a danger as we accept what exists in Haiti today, that as we attempt to provide help for the Haitian people, that help is not viewed as supporting a minority governmental arrangement. One has to remember that as we speak, if my memory serves me right, there isn't a single elected official in Haiti. And as we look at the crisis and we advocate for an intervention of assistance, that assistance be seen coming from honest brokers and not, in fact, propping up what exists in perpetuity. That in itself poses a danger.
All right, there we have the two leaders, the leader of Trinidad and Tobago and the leader of Canada addressing the issue of Haiti.
Yeah, I think the video speaks for itself. They have made the point. And we in CARICOM, that's why CARICOM set up the group of eminent persons, these three former prime ministers, and gave them the mission to go to Haiti, to bring all, when they talk about the Haitian political class, they're talking about the politicians, the political parties, the civil society activists, who are all involved in trying to find a solution. So we are trying to bring them all together and to see if out of that we could forge a national unity administration. The key to that is really to get the current de facto Prime Minister Henri, who was not elected, the strange circumstances that led him to be there, but to get him to make the necessary compromises, concessions on his power to bring the others on board. And once we can get that national unity administration, then everything else will work so much better. The Kenyan police coming in, everything, humanitarian aid coming in. So that really is the key. And I think what the two leaders have said is really designed to make this point very clear to Prime Minister Henri. You need to do this for the benefit of your country. Anyhow, I think.
Before we move on, Ambassador, for the benefit of our viewers, we know that we had announced there was a group of eminent persons, which included some former Caribbean leaders who went into Haiti, to try to broker a deal, so to speak. Is there any further reporting on how that has been going?
Well, what Prime Minister Trudeau said is that they're going back in later this month. That press conference was about a week ago. So yes, they're continuing to try. It's three former prime ministers. led by former Prime Minister Kenny Anthony of St. Lucia, and also including former PMs Perry Christie of Bahamas and Bruce Golding of Jamaica. So that's a CARICOM initiative. That's funded by us, like the CARICOM member states, and that's our major contribution to trying to solve the problem of Haiti. And as you heard from Prime Minister Trudeau, everybody now is coming to an understanding that this work is really critical, because that National Unity Administration is really the key to everything else that could unfold. So they continue to work, and we continue to hope that their work will bear fruit.
All right, now we're going to move on to a resolution that CARICOM states voted overwhelmingly on in the last 2 days.
Yeah, you know, as the UN Security Council is the body that has the primary responsibility to stop the slaughter that is happening in Gaza. However, that institution is not delivering. And so the UN General Assembly stepped up. And the UN General Assembly put forward a resolution. It was led by Jordan, but that resolution was also supported by CARICOM countries like Belize and St. Vincent, also by Cuba. And 12 CARICOM countries voted for it. This was a resolution demanding a humanitarian ceasefire. 12 CARICOM countries voted for it, of course, including Barbados. Haiti abstained, and Jamaica did not participate. But the resolution was passed by 120 votes. The problem with the General Assembly resolution is that, unlike a Security Council resolution, the General Assembly resolution is not binding. So, you know, Israel can continue to ignore it, but it is an expression of the opinion of the world community. And leading the General Assembly at this critical time is a CARICOM man, Ambassador Dennis Francis of Trinidad and Tobago. And so we have a clip where he is speaking as President of the General Assembly in favor of this resolution.
At this juncture, the most immediate step is clear. The violence must cease, and further bloodshed must be prevented. I call for the prompt and unconditional release of all hostages. I also call for an immediate, unconditional humanitarian ceasefire. And I also call for an immediate, unconditional opening of corridors of humanitarian assistance and relief. The only path to a comprehensive, just, and lasting peace is a negotiated two-state solution consistent with international law, the UN Charter, and relevant United Nations resolutions. A solution that fulfills Israel's legitimate needs for security and that fulfills the State of Palestine's legitimate aspirations for an independent state. I urge all parties, state and non-state, to set aside their animosities and focus instead on averting war through prioritizing saving lives.
Pretty powerful presentation from him as well, really just outlining where we stand, but we've seen a presentation in the last 2 days as well from President Netanyahu that he does not intend to stop the attacks.
Yes, it's so sad. Over 8,000 Palestinian civilians have now been killed, including 3,400 children. You know, this is just ridiculous. The UN Security Council is not doing its job. It has the responsibility under the UN Charter to take control of that situation and bring the hostilities to a halt. But the geopolitical games continue to be played in the Security Council, and no resolution has been passed. So we hope maybe this week will produce something. We keep our fingers crossed. But you know, the government of Barbados issued a statement, and the government of Barbados made a very poignant point in that statement, which is that the Gaza Strip is smaller than the size of the island of Barbados. In fact, it is 140.9 square miles. Yet, it contains 7 times the population of Barbados, over 2 million people. And our statement went on to say that in a situation like that, any aerial bombardment is going to kill civilians. And we too, in our own individual statement, we called for a humanitarian ceasefire. And yes, the Ambassador Dennis Francis, we too made the point that we support a two-state solution. We have done so from 1966 when we joined the United Nations. The people of Palestine, the world has neglected the Palestinian cause for too long. These people deserve their own nation, you know. And but right now it is all about ending that Israeli military bombardment of Palestine and saving the lives of innocent children, women, and men. So we just have to try our best that some sanity can prevail in what seems to be becoming a more and more insane world.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, Ambassador. Definitely lots of food for thought. We will be continuing to keep an eye on what's happening here in the region, but across the world as well.
Thank you, Tisha. See you next week.
All right. Remember, we have conversations on CARICOM each and every Tuesday right here on Morning Barbados. Well, coming up, an initiative that's meant to transform the landscape of education in Barbados is called Reimagining Education. There are also a series of consultations that will be coming up. This morning, we have the distinct pleasure of having the Chief Education Officer, Dr. Ramona Archer Bradshaw, joining us on Morning Barbados to discuss the general objectives of the initiative. That's all coming up. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it. Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
I'm Anne St. John, a consultant pediatrician. When packing healthy lunch boxes, do include a fruit, which includes a banana, apple, orange, or grapes to supply fiber. Aim for low-calorie packaged snacks without the mention of flour or sugar amongst the four ingredients on the back label. 1 in 3 children in Barbados is affected by overweight or obesity.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Welcome back. Just about 6 minutes to go before the 7 o'clock hour. Good to have you in company with us today. All right. Well, we promised you that we were going to have this conversation. So it's wonderful that we are able to have a conversation on transforming the education landscape in Barbados as we discuss a groundbreaking project that's meant to do just that and a whole lot more. There will be quite a few changes, and I know you have lots of questions. So we're joined by Ramona Archer Bradshaw, who is the Chief Education Officer, and she'll be able to provide us with invaluable insights into the initiatives, its goals and objectives, and its potential impact on our children. So let's go right ahead and say good morning and welcome to Dr. Arthur Bradshaw. Good morning.
Good morning, Tisha. Good morning, Barbados.
All right, wonderful to have you with us. I know it's quite a busy time and there's lots going on, as always, in education, but these days we're focusing heavily on the initiative Transforming Education and the series of consultations that will be a part of it. Now, could you first provide us with a general overview of the Reimagining Education Initiative and its overall objectives?
Okay. Well, Tisha, just last year, we spent some time engaging with the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, the Barbados Union of Teachers, the Association of Principals of Primary Schools, the Barbados Association of Public Secondary School Principals, as well as the NCPTA and Future Barbados. And we were able during that time to reimagine education. We recognize that the education system is not serving the needs of our children as it should. And we stated that instead of tweaking certain aspects of the system, it would be best to look at the system, analyze the system, evaluate it, and make a determination with regard to how we will transform the education system and students' outcomes. Coming out of that, we said that there was a need to look at our curricula. There was a need to ensure that we provide professional development opportunities for our teachers and educational leaders. We agreed that the educational framework, the regulation, and the education were outdated, and there was a need to change that. We spoke about the digital infrastructure and the physical infrastructure, and we said that schools must be more conducive to teaching and learning. And coming out of those conversations, we had other discussions with stakeholders, for example, the faith-based organizations, principals, teachers, parents, and students themselves. And they were able to reinforce some of what we had put in that very initial proposal. What we have now is an education transformation agenda in the form of key proposals for the pre-primary, primary, and secondary level. We speak about what we would like to see in each of those areas that I just mentioned, for example, teacher training and leadership training and so on. And that can be found on the ministry's website, www.mes.gov.bb, in that booklet that we call Reimagining Education in Barbados.
What are some of the major changes that we can expect to see as we move toward the implementation of this initiative overall? And I know obviously for Barbadians, usually they go straight toward the 11 plus. That usually is the hot button issue.
Yes. Well, we are proposing changes from the pre-primary level. For example, one of the key proposals is the universalization of pre-primary education. At present, the basic education system caters to children between 5 to 16 years old. That's the compulsory school age, between 5 and 16. What we are proposing is that we make 3 to 5 compulsory as well. So we want to engage those children in play-based approaches to learning, and teachers, we want teachers also to have training in delivering that kind of play-based approach. We want those children also to develop confidence and critical thinking, communication skills at that very, very early age through play, because that will carry them from pre-primary all the way through to the secondary level. In fact, all the way through to adulthood. At the primary level, we are proposing competency-based approaches. Now, at present, we focus quite a lot on the 11 plus. When children are in primary school, the curriculum is very exam driven. Teachers make sure that children are able to solve certain problems that will come, they believe will come on the examination paper. But we want to make sure that there are standards at each level and that teachers focus on ensuring that children reach those standards. Proposing that the system will not only be focused on what children know, but what they are able to do. And our children are very interesting individuals. They are not only competent in terms of writing paper pencil tests, many of them like to dance, many of them like to dramatize. And we want our teachers to utilize those modes as well, to ensure that our children have a fair chance at demonstrating what they know and what they are able to do. We are also proposing student profiles at the primary level. And these profiles will have what the children's skills are, what their interests are, and what their capabilities are. And these profiles will move with children all the way through primary school into secondary school. So that when a student leaves infants A and goes into infants B to a new teacher, the teacher in infants B will be able to see the profile of the student and be able to teach in a way that caters to that student's needs. We are proposing that the focus moves from just teaching the subject and trying to get through the syllabus to teaching the student. So those are some of the major proposals at the primary level. And then the transition from primary to secondary. We are proposing the abolition of the Barbados Secondary School Entrance Examination, also known as 11 plus, because we recognize that this 11 plus is causing teachers and students and parents to focus on certain skills and not other skills. This world is advancing very rapidly. As you know, and I always talk about when I was a child, we didn't have internet. It wasn't as ubiquitous as it is now. And, we had to make sure that we focused on learning content because you couldn't easily retrieve information as we can right now using the internet. Nowadays, we have information at our fingertips. Therefore, the focus must be on the development of skills, and as I said before, competencies. If we abolish the 11 plus, it means that we will have to find another means of transition that is fair for our students. We are proposing the feeder catchment school model where have a secondary school in the catchment area, and children from primary schools within that vicinity will transition into that secondary school. I'm encouraging all persons who are within earshot, all persons who are listening, to come to our consultations. You will hear a lot more about that. We have about 4 more scheduled. We started last week, and we have another one this Thursday at Queen's College, and another 3 every week thereafter. So you can check our website also for the dates and the locations.
All right, Dr. Archer Bradshaw, we have to take a break here, but I most certainly want to come back to talking a little bit about the consultations, and I'll leave you thinking about this as we go to break. Are they truly consultations in the truest sense, or are there an opportunity? Are you presenting them as an opportunity to present what the proposals are? With that said, then, what would the feedback from regular Barbadians? How will that, if it is a part of the plan, how will that be introduced, or how can people truly share and know that their suggestions during this consultation will be considered? So that's for you to consider as we go to break. We're going to come back with more from the Chief Education Officer as we try to talk a little bit about the Reimagining Education Initiative and the consultations that are upcoming, and one has already happened, as you heard. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey, not only grown-ups can sing, we can too.
Go easy on me, baby. I was still a child, didn't get the chance to.
CBC TV 8 is having a kids karaoke show just for us. So children between the ages of 5 to 17 comment and join in for fun. Email Nadia Foster at nfoster@cbc.bb. Hear you soon. Bye.
For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and together building a community for all mature audiences. That's why we say Q is good for you. To our Q family, we say thank you for staying connected to Q 100.7 FM. QFM is a station of the Caribbean.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're joined by the Chief Education Officer this morning, Dr. Ramona Archer Bradshaw. And just before we went to break, we started talking about the consultation. So welcome back, Dr. Archer Bradshaw. The question I posed was whether suggestions made will truly be considered.
Certainly, Tishia. Since our consultations in May, we've been incorporating feedback from our partners in education. From our teachers, principals, students, parents, everybody. Because at the end of the day, we recognize that the education transformation cannot occur with the Ministry of Education's input alone. We need all hands on deck. So in the booklet, you will realize that we are putting forward proposals. They're only proposals, they're proposals in the true sense of the word. It is not a fait accompli. Every day we go out and we listen to persons, we hear their inputs, then we have to sit down, evaluate, synthesize, and put those inputs into another draft. We are hoping that by January, we will have cabinet approval so that we can begin to plan in earnest for a proposed implementation in 2025.
How do we plan to assess all that we're doing, these changes? Obviously, as we go forward, it's important to ensure that the plan is sustainable and it is one that's truly working. So what measures are in place to continuously assess the changes and ensure that we're nimble if we need to be able to switch it up and make sure that our children are benefiting?
Well, we have several committees. We have one called the Oversight Committee that will be chaired by the Prime Minister herself. There will be persons from the opposition in there as well, and retired educators. We have other committees who will be responsible for ensuring that we are on target every step of the way in every area. We spoke about the transition of teachers that we will have to consider if we move towards the Junior College of Excellence and Senior College of Excellence. We have committees that deal with leadership and teacher quality and so on. So at every step of the way, we have committees who will make sure that we are on track.
Now, I know that you mentioned, which gave away your age a little bit there, Doctor, that you were around school days when there wasn't the internet, but we certainly want to make sure that any reimagined education initiative also considers how we are going to prepare our children to compete in the future and what the needs will be in future. I know you mentioned quite briefly that obviously we have to look toward what's happening and how quickly the landscape is changing. But can you speak specifically to any part of the plan that deals with how we are going to assess moving forward? I mean, in these times, it's even difficult to ask a child what you want to be. I think that's already an obsolete question because there are so many jobs of the future and so many things that are happening very quickly that we need to arrest. So how will Reimagined Education, the initiative, address this?
Well, as part of this proposal, we had to do quite a lot of visioning because we don't want to prepare children for yesterday, nor do we want to prepare them only for today. We have to prepare them for the future. When we look at this world, it is technologically advancing. This is the reason we are proposing coding and robotics to be a staple curriculum, and we've actually started that within our schools at the primary and the secondary schools. We are looking at using virtual reality. At present, there's something called Chat GPT that some children are using to write their essays for them. It means, therefore, that teachers have to be very vigilant within the classroom. And instead of just allowing children to bring an essay to the class and have the teacher mark the essay, it would be best for the teachers to ask the students to present orally in the classroom. What have you gleaned? Okay, you use Chat GPT. What have you gleaned from that? Or what now can you create now that you have this knowledge? What problem can we solve as Barbadians? So we have to be very, very forward thinking in terms of our assessment and move away from just the knowledge and comprehension and move towards a lot of analysis, synthesis, evaluation, and allowing our students to find homegrown solutions to everyday problems.
This is true because the end product is only as good as its inputs. And even
Yes.
with initiatives like or AI driven systems like Chat GPT and other AI systems, you only get out a solution that's as good as the input. So moving to a
That's
place
correct.
where you're teaching the children how they can use these systems, it's almost like using a calculator. I don't know about you, but in the early days, I got in trouble for bringing a calculator to primary school. But we all
Yes.
know that if you don't know how to use it well and you don't know what you're putting in, then the calculator really cannot help you, beyond a
Yes.
certain point. So I'm happy to hear that we definitely are moving to a place where we are looking at education in this way because the conversation has been happening for quite some time. And I think people are at the place where the only discussion around it was whether we're going to have the 11 plus or not. It was happening and then it wasn't. And so I think Barbadians will want to come out to these consultations, remind us of where and when they happen and how we can get involved.
So this Thursday, we will have a consultation at Queen's College. All of the consultations start at 6:30. The next one will be on November the 8th at Princess Margaret Secondary School, November the 15th at the Dighton Griffith Secondary School, and November 22nd at Harrison College. I invite all persons to come out, hear the proposals, give your input, give your feedback, because we're going to sit down and incorporate your feedback into the final proposal that will be shared with Cabinet.
All right. And I most certainly look forward to going through it with a fine tooth comb. I have not had an opportunity to examine it as yet, but I most certainly will because I am told that it really seeks to fill the gaps or, work with those children who have been falling through the gaps, so to speak,
Yes.
including children with disabilities. And this is something that we've been advocating for quite some time.
Yes, indeed, Tisha. The children with disabilities or children with exceptionalities are not treated currently as they deserve. We recognize that. We recognize that there are shortcomings. So, as part of the education transformation proposal, we have put in here that we want teachers, all teachers, to have an understanding of how to teach children with special educational needs. We want teachers have children in the classroom who are mainstream. but children who also have these exceptionalities, and to be able to cater to them accordingly. To this end, we are proposing the use of individual education plans for those children with exceptionalities, that is, those children who are very challenged, and those children who are exceedingly gifted. What we find happens in classrooms sometimes is that you have teachers teaching to the middle, and those children who get through very quickly, they do the work quickly, and then they get up to mischief because there's nothing else to do. We want teachers to be able to plan for those children as those who are exceedingly challenged. It is about teaching the student, and you will see that whenever you look at the proposal, everything that we put forward, you will realize that it is student centric. It is about making sure that we have indeed a bright future for every single child.
And finally, the people who really will be at the forefront of helping us implement this plan are the teachers. What are the plans, some of the major plans for them? I know you mentioned training in some instances and oversight, but what are some of the changes that we can expect as relates to teachers in the system?
Yes, we want to provide continuous professional development for our teachers. And that is usually Erdison Teachers Training College will have courses during the Easter or during the summer. But we want to make sure that at every single turn, teachers have opportunities to develop. We are therefore engaging in consultation and collaboration with Columbia University and other universities to see how they can work with Erdison Teachers Training College to provide meaningful and relevant courses for our teachers and educational leaders. We want that at the end of the day, that the courses are micro-credential. That means that the teachers can leave the courses with certification, not only certification from Erdison, but dual certification from Erdison and Columbia University, or Erdison and some other very recognized university. We are also proposing a master teacher track for our teachers who are at what they do. At present, there's no way for teachers who are excellent to move up in the system unless they take up a management position. So we lose some very good teachers to management, and they may be teachers but not very good leaders. So what we need to do is that we need to provide space for them to continue doing what they do very well, but at least be remunerated for it. So that is one of the major goals that we have for our teachers. In terms of our educational leaders, we want sure that there is a proper onboarding program for them and mentorship, because sometimes we have principals who go to schools and they do about 1 or 2 sessions and that's it. But some principals need that ongoing support. So we are looking to institutionalize a mentorship program for our principals.
All right, definitely some very interesting areas to cover. And we most certainly hope that we'll be able to continue this education with you and other officials as we continue the consultations and move toward the implementation of this Reimagining Barbados initiative. We're going to repeat the consultation dates again, coming up on November 2nd. That's in a matter of days, on Thursday. It's at Queen's College School from 6:30 to 9 o'clock. On November 8th, Princess Margaret School from 6:30 to 9, 6:30 to 9 each night. November 15th, Dighton Griffith and Harrison College on the 22nd of November. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Always great to see you.
Good to see you too, Tisha.
All right, you take care, and we
Thank
will
you.
continue to share information about the initiative and how things are unfolding.
Thank you.
You to share.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and together building a community for all mature audiences. That's why we say Q is good for you. To our Q family, we say thank you for staying connected to Q 100.7 FM. QFM is a station of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. CBC, celebrating 60, connecting Barbadian communities.
Are you a youth group, 4-H club, school, Cub Scout, or Brownie Pack? Or any organization or club with children ages 4 to 11 years? If yes is the answer, then we at Fun School, we're looking for you. Let's have fun singing, dancing, listening to amazing stories, doing craft, and so much more. I'm such a kid at heart. But to be part of this fun and exciting new season of Fun School, just simply send a
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We've been talking a great deal about celebrating NIFCA 50. So that's this year. We have Sophia Catwell joining us now to talk more about the culinary arts, and she's the external coordinator for the NCF in this area. Good morning to you, Sophia.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm well.
All right.
Excited about the NIFCA Culinary Arts.
Absolutely. No, this is an area that we are always excited about. Bajan food.
That's right.
So let's really get into it and talk about what are some of the major things that will be happening in this 50th year.
Yeah, well, we've done a few tweaks to the competition this year. We've brought back a competition and we're going to have an exhibition at the end. So we've already kicked off with 2 workshops, which were held last month in areas such as product presentation and quality. And the other workshop was held in incorporating local flowers. And I'll talk a bit about that as the morning progresses. The workshops were geared towards assisting persons who have entered the competition in developing these areas so that you have an idea of what the judges are looking for when you present your entry, when you buy the products to use to make your entry, because we focus heavily all on local items in our food, especially for the NIFCA competition. So those 2 workshops have already been completed by our entrants, and now we're moving into this week where we're going to have judging starting from tomorrow morning. So we're excited to have these things take place over the next couple of days. So this year, we've narrowed down the categories to focus on Bajan items such as Bajan sweets and treats, Bajan preserves, Bajan baked goods, Bajan cocktails and mocktails, Bajan ice creams, and desserts. And so far, we've seen over 150 entries come in so far in these various categories, and we're excited to start the judging process starting from tomorrow. This year, our home is at the Queen's Park Steel Shed, so we'll be doing all of our judging, and then the exhibition will take place there over the weekend.
Just even the name, Sophia, already have me intrigued. Talking about Bajan cocktails and mocktails, that's one thing. And then you had to go talk about Bajan ice creams. Definitely seems like something that Barbadians would make up. So talk to us about what the entries have been like, what the interest has been like in these areas. I'm particularly interested in preserves. Now, I know that at one point in time, Barbadians used to get into a lot of preserves because we had a lot of the indigenous fruit and so on. So you would have all types of preserves. And I'm looking forward to the culinary arts bringing all of this back in a big way.
That is definitely the case again this year. You'll see things like hog plum and sea grapes and Scotch bonnet and those type of items being used in the preserves and in the baked goods. You're seeing all types of creative items, lentil, peas, and different types of sweet potatoes and the baked goods. And because this year we're offering a special price in the use of local flours, you're seeing items like breadfruit cakes and sweet potato cakes that they're being baked with um, the local flowers. So we're it's you're going to be blown away this year when you come to the exhibition to see what our local culinary artists have put forward. Um, the exhibition will take place on Saturday, the 4th of November at the Queen's Park Steel Shed, and it begins at 10 a.m. with an official ceremony, and then we run until 5 p.m. in the afternoon. So we want to encourage persons to come out and view these exciting pieces that will be on display for the competition.
I'm so excited about this aspect of NIFCA for 2023 for more reasons than one. But hearing you talk about all of these authentically Bajan things takes me back to, I was very young, but I can still remember the days of Carmita Frazier being on television and just sharing some of her creations. Every time we saw her, it was something new, but it featured something authentically Barbadian, and that's exactly what
Barbadian.
I'm thinking by the incorporation of the local flowers. Hearing about breadfruit cake, initially I'm thinking, okay, breadfruit cake, but I would absolutely try it, I suppose. So definitely some interesting places that, our culinary giants are going. What we'd like to reinforce is that NIFCA is also developmental. So even if you are not a straight out chef or you don't think that your product is where it should be, this is a really great opportunity for the development of those who are interested in this area of the arts.
It certainly is. Once you enter your piece into the competition, I spoke to the fact that we've already had those workshops, and those workshops was a part of the developmental process to guide you into how you should prepare your entry for the competition. That's why it was held. They were held last month, and at the end of you submitting your entries, and the judges have had the opportunity to review the entries and judge and award either gold, silver, or bronze, or one of the many special prizes that we have this year for the competition. You'll get an opportunity to sit down with the judges at the end of it, and they'll again will talk to you about what what they found interesting, what they found you could do better, and help you to grow and develop so that when you enter the competition again next year, you would be armed with that type of information coming out of this year's competition.
All right, good stuff. Can we spend a little time on the prizes? That's always good to hear about what people will be walking away with and what they can expect.
Well, in those categories that I listed earlier, the Bajan sweet treats, the preserves, persons will be winning $2,000 in cash as well as the trophy. We've brought back the Ian Maxwell Award, the Prime Minister's Scholarship, again, this valued at $35,000. And I want to speak to a new award that we've incorporated this year, the Peter Edie Award of Excellence. And it will take the form of a cash prize of $3,000 and a trophy for the gold scoring collection of junior culinary entries. And I, we decided this would be an excellent way, one, to honor Peter Edie, who, as you know, has been a friend of the culinary arts for the last how many ever years. He's been around. He's been helping in the juniors to develop, and we want to recognize his contribution this year by way of this award. So any junior collective, a school group, a community group that enters the competition this year is eligible to win this prize. Another new another new prize is the Prime Minister's Award for the Best Original NIFCA Culinary Entry. And this is designed to focus on significant creativity and innovation in culinary arts. So we're looking for you challenging the status quo in terms of using your product, how you present your product, and so that's a new prize as well. And we're excited about these new prizes because that one in particular, the prize money is $3,500. Another new prize is the Business Entrepreneur Prize, and this is a prize awarded across all the disciplines and is valued at $15,000. It will be awarded to a gold awardee in the adult category who recognizes the works to demonstrate any entrepreneurial value, and this prize will be awarded to any entrant with a body of winning products that can be produced for mass sale. And of course, it's our 50th year, so we have the 50th anniversary of NIFCA Award. And this prize will be awarded to the most outstanding presentation in the NIFCA Culinary Arts. The prize will take the form of a trophy and a cash prize of $2,000. So, along with all the other prizes that we've had in the previous years, we've added those new ones, and we're excited because we're seeing categories, we're seeing entrants already present things that look very, very promising, Tisha.
Absolutely. Every time I think of another category, I get excited because even the confectionaries, when I think about that, there are quite a few of them that I myself still don't know how to make. And I think this is a really grand opportunity for us to challenge ourselves, even as regular Barbadians, even if you haven't entered the NIFCA Culinary Arts in that particular area, you know, an opportunity for us to really learn about our culture and the things that came before, especially in this 50th year. I want to thank you so much, Sophia Catwell, Culinary Arts External Coordinator for the National Cultural Foundation. That's the hat you're wearing today, but I know you wear several hats. So always good to see you. This truly is an exciting area, and I look forward. Most of all, though, top of the table for me is the incorporation of those low flowers, because that has far-reaching implications, even for how we eat as we look at NCDs and things of that nature. If we're able to use a lot of these flowers going forward, that can make a drastic difference to our health, which is very, very important. Thank you so much for sharing. Have a great day today.
Thank you, and you the same.
All right, and we'll continue to update you as the excellence continues. NIFCA 50. Absolutely beautiful. Make sure you delve in and be a part of it. We're going to take a break and come on back. Stay with me here on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Are you a youth group, 4-H club, school, Cub Scout, or Brownie Pack, or any organization or club with children ages 4 to 11 years? If yes is the answer, then we at Fun School, we're looking for you. Let's have fun singing, dancing, listening to amazing stories, doing craft, and so much more. I'm such a kid at heart. But to be part of this fun and exciting new season of Fun School, just simply send an email to Alicia Alves Grant at aagrant@cbc.bb for further details. Fun School is back, and we're looking for you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And together,
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, so welcome back to Morning Barbados. We have a whole host of acronyms to get through right now, but we're going to get there together. So, the Barbados Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, or BARIFA, they're giving back in a significant kind of way through their organizations, and of course, delving in through help and assistance from their professional arms. And they're going to tell us a whole lot more about how they're doing this. Joining us is Dion Cummings, who's president of BARIFA and chairman of CARIFA, which is an arm of BARIFA. We're going to explain it, don't you worry. And also here's Tyrone Lowe, who is IPP of BARIFA, and they're going to tell us what that all is about. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, Tisha.
Yeah, I have to start by saying this is probably an exercise in breaking down insurance names.
Yes.
Yeah, but the acronyms definitely are interesting. So I'm going to start with you. Talk to us a little bit about the two organizations and the subtle differences.
Okay. So good morning, Tisha. Good morning, Barbados. Happy 60th anniversary to CBC.
Thank you.
Yes. And BARIFA is the local association in Barbados. So then we have territories across the region, Jamaica, JIFA, Trinidad and Tobago, TIFA, and so on in each region. So CARIFA now, the Caribbean Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, which the headquarters is in Jamaica, is the umbrella association for the member territories. So that's basically to break it down. And today we're actually celebrating 46 years as an association. And the CARIFA Foundation is the charitable arm of CARIFA. So on this day is better known for all of us across the territories as the Day of Common Concern. And that's where all of the territories come together in the spirit of giving to fund activities to help raise awareness for the Kidney Association.
Wow.
Yes.
That's really commendable for the organizations. So let's get into a little bit about what you have been doing outside of this day to continue to raise awareness about, in association with, I would imagine, the Barbados Kidney Association and what's happening in that area. So I know there was a walk. Talk to me about how that went.
Okay, so the walk was held on Sunday, and we joined with the Kidney Association, Mr. Alan Haynes, who's the president of that association. We have had a number of members from the Ross University joining us, so we walked around the Garrison in our red. This year we're using the color red to help highlight the anniversary. So I want to encourage those of you who have not left home as yet to wear your red today in support of us. And the aim of the foundation throughout the years, actually the foundation is celebrating 20 years today. And Tyrone, he was very instrumental in the genesis of the CARIFA Foundation. And the aim is basically to intensify the efforts in prevention to help persons see transplantation as a method of kidney care, and basically to help do a lot of research and also to promote eating healthy living and promoting good kidneys as well, and the importance for that, especially knowing when the foundation first started 20 years ago, statistics would have shown that there were 100 persons in Barbados on dialysis, and now there are about 400 persons. So we really would like to help those suffering with kidney failure.
All right,
Yes.
so, as laid out by Ms. Cummings, you were part of the early development, so tell us more about how we've got into this place.
Yes, thank you, and good morning again. 20 years ago when we launched what we call the kidney awareness effort, it was because we realized of all the NCDs in Barbados, kidney was perhaps one that could be easily overlooked. You had a small population of kidney sufferers, as Dion said, it was just about 100, but the expense was about 12,000 US annually. That really went into somewhere about 1 point something million. It could have been easily overlooked because it was a small but vulnerable group. Yet, you had to pay them attention. Your life is too precious to just allow them to be lost. And what we saw happen in Barbados was perhaps credible. But in St. Vincent, in St. Lucia, in Grenada, in Trinidad, across the region, they were not so fortunate. In fact, we've seen a couple of our friends who, because of maybe the inability to provide good kidney care, passed. And therefore, we thought it wise to, let's focus on kidneys. We've got a lot going on with cancer, we've got a lot going on with diabetes. Let's help the Kidney Association. And today, as we reflect 20 years, we want to see where we have come. We want to see what improvements there might have been. And we want to see where we are. We know 400 local dialysis treatment patients. So imagine, therefore, that we are getting a bit, what should I say? It's getting a bit worse in terms of kidney care. And more people are coming forward, therefore, with the ailment. And the hospital costs would therefore be high. Hence, we are coming to see how best we could alert Barbadians. Care for your kidneys, what you eat, what you do, because it is crucial.
All right, so you're presenting this day of common concern through a panel discussion along those lines in said areas. So assessing the cost and capacity of good kidney care across the Caribbean and the Americas, and it's coming up today. It's at 5 o'clock.
EST. That's where we get the confusion. So let's clear that.
All right, so clear that for me.
6 p.m. for Bajans.
6 p.m. for Bajans, most of the Caribbean, like TT, St. Vincent, Antigua, and others who will be part of this discussion, because it's regional, and that's where we wanted to really connect with everybody else across the region. Jamaica is 5 p.m. I think Belize, who are a part of us,
2 hours
will be 4 p.m. And Mexico, we're supposed to have a Mexican on. I'm not quite sure how that is going, because I think even you reported this morning that there's some fall out from the recent hurricane in Mexico, so that's a bit of a problem. But this evening, 6 p.m., wear something red and join our conversation.
So that's AST and not EST. All right, so 6 o'clock for us, 5 o'clock for the rest of the region and Latin America on Eastern Standard Time. And it's a very interesting panel, I think, because you have a great mix of doctors and experts, but you also have a transplant patient who's going to be a part of the discussion as well. And nobody really can share what it is to go through it and the things that need to be done more than someone who truly is going through it.
Yes, and he's excited to share his information. And talking to him, here's a person who was surprised in the first place that he caught this ailment. Went for a check and then realized he had kidney failure. And then his whole physical appearance changed. He was so worried that he didn't even go out socially for a while because he was afraid to be seen in public. Imagine the kind of emotional trauma that can cause you. And then his sister gave him a kidney. So he boasts that today he is taking care of his baby's sister's kidney until God knows when. But he's so much revived now. He talks about the costs, he talks about his frustrations, and he wants to share the information that kidney transplant has helped him, but others who are taking life for granted, be careful how you treat your kidneys, because you want to live.
So that's a panel discussion coming up this evening that you definitely should check out. It's on Zoom.
Yes.
So that's another positive thing. As we move to this sometimes hybrid or online approach, it makes so many discussions and so on accessible that previously would have been out of our reach based on not being able to go out or what have you. So You just need to get home and log on to Zoom,
Yes.
and then you absolutely can be a part of the discussion.
Yes, we're actually having a stream live on our social media pages, Facebook and IG. So it's Carifa. You can pull that up.
You have to spell that out. So call numbers for us, please.
CARAIFA, Carifa. So go and log on, look up the pages now, and join us this evening. It will be on live there.
All right. And where are you hoping to take this? I know for usually when we hear about professionals like yourselves in the insurance industry and the financial services industries, we don't usually tie that toward advocacy, and most certainly in this area. So where are you hoping to be able to take the organizations in terms of what you do going forward?
Well, that's a beautiful question because, as a matter of fact, even ensuring within the name of Bereafer, the component there is part of advocacy. We're not just about taking money from clients and you drive big cars and then you become insensitive to what's around you. The whole idea is that in becoming an advisor, part of your social responsibility is to give back to community. And then even if it means going to government where you help join in formal legislation to protect, that's part of our mandate as well. And that's why I like how you ask it. Today, all across the region, insurance agents who would normally be just selling and are pausing to say, look, we want to focus on kidney for the benefit of our clients, the benefit of our families, the benefit of our territories.
All right, truly excellent. You didn't tell me what the IPP is for, though.
Immediate past president. Simple. That's all it is.
We're just making sure.
The
With
poorest,
all of
the
the
poorest of the
acronyms
bunch
going
as well,
on.
perhaps.
Yes. I want to thank you both for coming in and sharing with us, though. Pardon me. Dion Cummings, president, and Tyrone Law, immediate past president.
Yes, that's correct.
Definitely doing some fantastic work. You hope that you would also come back and share with us here on Morning Barbados what you're up to as we make the connection between insurance and financial services professionals and how important it is to look at health in a holistic kind of way as well, as you are often the people who are convincing us that we should protect ourselves.
That's it.
Going forward with these conditions and so on. So thank you for coming in. Hope to see you soon.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
We definitely
Have a great
look
day.
forward to that. Have a great day.
All right. So make sure you get online. It is Carifa. Check them out online and you can be a part of that discussion. CARAIFA. And they're streaming and they're also on Zoom for that meeting. So check it out tonight, 6 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are talking grief and loss as we continue that series. That's coming up next. Stay with us.
The Caribbean Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, CARIFA, in collaboration with the CARIFA Foundation and in observance of the Day of Common Concerns, presents a panel discussion on assessing the cost and capacity of good kidney care across the Caribbean and the Americas on Tuesday, October 31, 2023 at 5 p.m. EST. Wear something red as you listen and participate with the experts. The Zoom link 899-2498-4146 with passcode 447-171. Log on.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Oh, hi. My name is Stacia Whitaker, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist and a member of the Heart and Stroke Childhood Obesity Prevention Coalition. My motto is, when in doubt, leave it out, and it goes for when I'm eating, because sometimes things have ingredients that we're not sure of, and I like to keep it simple. And if I'm eating something and I'm not sure the ingredients in that particular thing, then I choose to leave it out. So I keep my snacking simple with fruit, nuts, or just water. It's easy to remember, there's no added ingredients, and it's also very nutritious. So remember, childhood obesity is real, so choose healthier alternatives. And when in doubt, leave it out.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
98.1 The One is more than a station.
We don't just play music, we keep you company, cheer you up, keep you informed and entertained. We are a vibe. What do you mean?
Every day we bring the party to you.
We are your #1 party station.
We love playing music for our listeners. And we're committed to working with our clients and advertisers to make sure that you get the attention that you deserve.
98.1 The One. Celebrating 18 and still your #1 party station.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, so we're continuing the series that we've presented to you on grief and loss. And it's not as straightforward as you would think a lot of the time. So let me go right ahead and say a special good morning and welcome back to Deborah Francis.
Good morning.
Welcome. Always good to have you sharing with us. And today we want to focus a little bit on change and how important it is to get children ready for change in whatever area we're talking about.
It's important to get children and everyone to accept the fact that there has been change, and oftentimes we fight against the change when it's really inevitable sometimes. And what we do with the children is we have them talk about the changes that they've been through, but also for the parents as well to get on board with their own children and talk to the children about the changes that they themselves have been through, because we've all had grief and loss in our own lives, and making it very real for a child by a parent or a carer to say, well, I went through this and this is how I felt. Making the feelings very normal for a child, because oftentimes we find that children say, but it's not normal to feel like this because I don't know of anybody else who's felt like this. And so they struggle with their own feelings, they struggle with their emotions, and then they start fighting against their emotions when all it sometimes takes is to get them to talk it out. And there are cultural differences, there's cultural, what we call as cultural norms, whereas we didn't do that back in our day. We didn't behave like that, or we didn't act like that in front of our parents. It doesn't mean that it was necessarily the right thing to do, and we can blend the two together. We don't want people to lose respect for their past, but you have to accept the fact that their past may not necessarily have been the way that we would do it now. And it's important that we also appreciate how children feel and understand why they're talking to us the way that they are. We can sometimes switch that around and say, do you think that's the right thing to do? These times have changed. I understand how you might be feeling, and then get them to talk it out with you, and which is what we do on the program.
So let's talk a bit about the practices that over time really become kind of ingrained in people and communities and households. And then it's the norm. How do we move toward being able to change some of these beliefs, and which really have become ingrained culture? And if we look at things like corporal punishment, for example, sometimes things like that can cause a real rift in families, where there are newer parents who might want to move away from that, but then there are older members of the family who think, you know, not dealing with children in that way, it's not necessarily the best way to do it. So how are we able to kind of navigate spaces like that?
It takes a lot of self-reflection. And as I often say, the way that you would punish a child for doing something, pretend that child was somebody else's. Would you treat them the same way? And I can promise you, 9 times out of 10, they'll say, well, actually, I wouldn't hit a neighbour's child. I would talk to them about it. And the same way you would talk to them about it, why can you not find it in yourself to talk to your own child? The self-reflection comes from the fact that there are things that happened to us when we were growing up, and we know full well it wasn't really the right thing to do. But sometimes our parents and grandparents acted from a place of pain, and they acted from all that they ever knew. And deep inside, they know it might not have been the right thing to do, but it's all, and sometimes it's what communities expect you to do. We treat our children in a way that we think other people might want us to treat them. But if someone was going to lash you, for example, for doing something, say you spoke out of turn, and you would get beat for that. Now, you wouldn't do that. You would say, well, actually, that's not the right thing to say. It's not your turn to speak now. You don't necessarily want to shut them down, but say, we will give you an opportunity to talk, and we can talk a little bit later on. You wouldn't do that in the boardroom. You wouldn't do it in the workplace. You wouldn't do it elsewhere. So please don't don't teach the children that that's the way to go now. Because at what stage do you actually tell a child, I know that I beat you for talking out of turn, but you can't go to school and fight other children, because all you're teaching them is that perhaps that's the way to go. It's not necessarily. There are other forms of punishment. There's other tools and methods of punishment. And a classic one is the mobile phone. We pay for the cell phone. We actually pay for the internet. You can use that, and actually you can earn your time on your phone. And if you have misbehaved or there's been some infraction, we're going to reduce some of the time on your phone. And actually, you may have to submit your phone and you're not getting it back for a week. But stand by what you said. Don't make idle punishments when you know full well you're not going to carry them through. And a classic one is where you do that and I'm going to say, lick off your head, for example. You know you're not going to. So why are you saying that? Give them something very, very real, because all they're going to do is turn around and use that on somebody else. And then your parenting comes into question. And your children later down the line will actually say, I remember my parents saying this and doing this, and I would never do that to my child. We have to break that generational curse whereby everything is treated with the same punishment. We need to be more in tune with our children so that we allow them to talk to us, and we get them to talk to us, and we actually listen to what they have to say. And we can learn a lot. We can learn a heck of a lot. In the classroom, where they were
Now, I know that you use these books, you've brought them to display. The children who are part of the series, they have these workbooks, so let's talk a bit about this. Okay, so for example, each child, depending on their age, because they're in age-related groups, you've got no more than 8, say, 6-year-olds. You've got no more than 8, 10-year-olds. So you've got level 1, which will be for the 6 to 7-year-olds. Level 2 will be for the 8 to 9-year-olds, and level 3 will be 10 to 11-year-olds. When they get into secondary school, of course, they would then be using level 4. And these are the workbooks that they would use. On the table, you also have workbooks which will be for the parents, because we're helping the parents to help the children. And we also have the books which are for the adults. You may not necessarily have children, but you yourself have been through your own grief and your own losses. And that's what those books are for. As they go through different seasons, the children use the workbooks to map out how they've been feeling and what they're feeling and how they can actually move forward. The books are given to them at the end of the 11 weeks. We don't give it to them to take home before that, because sometimes children get ridiculed for what they've actually done, the work they've done. Their books could get lost, and sometimes the books have actually been confiscated from them by parents or whoever's in the household. So they'll get that at the end of it, and then they can look back and reflect and think, wow, you know, ma'am, I remember feeling like that. I don't really feel like that anymore, but should I ever get those feelings again, I know now what to do going forward. I know that before I was a bully, and I know that I was bullying other children because of how I felt. I was acting from a place of pain. Now I know that how it feels, because you've taught me how to reflect on my own feelings and put that into relation to somebody else's, and it helps them with their thought process. I absolutely like the name of the project. You're project coordinator of the Seasons for Growth, Grief, Education. I always mince it up, but that's the general feel for it. So how can people get into the program? I know you're in schools now, which is why we want to share about it. It's important to kind of get the children engaged and help them where they need help.
Yes, they can get in touch with us. We are actually a charity. They can get in touch with us via the phone, which is 2682085. We have an email, which is seasonsforgrowthbb@gmail.com. We have a website, Seasons for Growth Barbados, and of course an Instagram page. Technology is way above me, but we have an Instagram page for that. And we ask people to reach out to us, and we then reach out in turn to schools and say that, you know, the program is here if you would like the children on the program. But it's important for the parents to be asked about putting their children on the program, and not the schools necessarily identifying a particular child, because what a school may or may not see is a loss that's not really that significant for the child. Whereas I may have explained before, if you've lost a loved one, who you're probably missing and the grief you're going through is the extended family that you've missed out on. And so we ask the parents to identify the child that they want on the program. And of course, as I said, it is free because businesses sponsor the program and they come forward because the children are future employees. And without the children having the opportunity to talk about what they've been going through, we know full well there's things that we've said and there's things that we've done. Had we had the opportunity to talk it out before, we may have acted differently. And also the children are the children of some of the employees as well.
All right, so we want to thank you for sharing with us, and of course we will continue talking more. So the important thing is to think about how we can work through change as a family or as a team, whether it's your neighborhood or friends, your extended family, or just your immediate family. Very interesting things for us to think about as we wrap today's show. It certainly goes by very quickly. I'm channeling orange today because it's Halloween. And, call me Pumpkin.
Could I just add,
I'm channeling Pumpkin, yes.
I'm sorry, our concert was cancelled the week before last because of the rain, but it is on again on the 12th of November at the Combermere School.
Okay, we can talk about that next week.
Bless you.
When
Thank
you're
you very
in.
much.
Definitely we'll share more about the concert. Hey, coming up tomorrow, we're talking HR with the Human Resources Management Association of Barbados. We're going to tell you about a free fundraiser, a concert for the Mighty Griner that's coming up with Orlando Hines. He's going to be here, Radar Sound, Shirley Stewart, and so much more. The King of the Road, Mighty Griner himself, is going to be in with us. Ramon Carey had a life-changing experience, and he's going to share that with us. And it's Diabetes Month, which will be coming up, and we find out more about the month of activities. Plus, we're going to tell you about the lighting ceremony, how we light the nation for the 1st of November. That's all coming up tomorrow, Wednesday. We're also going to bring that live here on TV8 from just around 5 o'clock in the evening. That's it from us for today. As you go through your day, remember to wear your smiles. Do something really nice for someone today. Tell us about it, and be sure to come on back tomorrow. Have a great day today. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.